And welcome to the series. This is part 12, and in this episode we are looking at sets. So sets are pretty much the same with lists, but the only difference is that with sets now you do not have an index accompanied to that accompanies rather a particular element. So for this reason you realize that elements of a set do not have a particular order. So let's actually go ahead and look at how you can define a set. So in order to, let's create a set called subjects, and inside of subjects we are going to put the actual values. But before we put anything inside, I want you to take note of the notation for creating a set. So for creating sets, we make use of parentheses, curly braces as they were, right? So inside of the curly braces, that's where you're going to have your subjects. So we can have math, we can have geo, we can have English, we can also have history in there. So that's how you can create a set. Then we can simply go ahead and print objects, and we invoke the Python interpreter and we ask it to interpret the sets file, and you'll realize that. Let me just clear the console so that we don't have a lot going on down there. Right, so this is what we get, right? As you'd expect, we get our set printed down there in the console. So I want you to notice that the syntax or the output is pretty much the same really for lists and tuples, but the only difference is the type of brackets that we use. So for sets we use the curly braces, so that's how you can create a set. Then you can actually add items, or rather you can add a single item to a set by making use of the add method. So let's actually go ahead and do that. So let's say subjects dot add. Then what you want to add is we want to add another subject. So let's add French in there. Then after this operation we simply want to go ahead and output the set one more time. So if we output that, you realize that now we have what? We have French as part of the list. Then maybe suppose you wanted to remove that. Again, you can make use of dot remove, right? So the remove method is going to remove the what? An element of the set. So in this instance, let's actually try and run this and see what we get. I'm not really sure if I should pass in an argument there. Let me just confirm that. So let's try to run sets. Alright, so it actually requires that we give it an argument, and it even didn't supply one. So if we want to actually remove something, we can have to pass in the element name in there. Why do I have to remove French? Let me try to remove geo, just to show that there's no particular order to sets, as it were. So let me just clear the console and run it one more time, and you realize that now we no longer have geo within the subjects set there. So that's how you can go about and remove certain elements from within a set. And you can also add multiple items in one go by making use of the update method. So let's actually do that. So we want to update. So let's bring back geo. Then let's also introduce another subject. Let's introduce bio. We can also introduce chem, and we can also introduce physics in there, right? Then we simply need to print subjects one more time to see if that update really did okay. So we'll clear out the console, then run the code, and you realize that now we have a very long list really going on there, right? So that's how you can add items to your set. Why do I have a lot of that going on there? What's going on here? I now have a B, a P, and I'm not really sure where these are coming from. History, MY, OU. Where did this come from? Alright, I had forgotten. The reason why we are getting that many elements is because how the update method works. So the update method, if you look here in my comment here, I actually have parentheses then box brackets going on in there, is it? So what this does is that the update method is actually going to require that you do you pass the elements that you want to update or to include or add on to the set contained within a list, is it? So the argument that the argument to the update method should actually be a list of the subjects that you'd want to add. So if you do not make use of these parentheses, sorry, these box brackets, as it were, it's actually going to take each individual character of your string and add it to that set. So that's why you see me that I'm getting all these, the B is here, the I is there, the O is there, the G is here, the E is here. Then of course what it does is that for repeating elements like the O, it's only going to appear once. So that's another good thing for another good thing with sets, right? If you don't want to have repeat elements, you make use of sets. Whereas with lists and tuples, you can actually have repeat elements. So that's one advantage of using sets, right? So let me just now go ahead and run this code, and you will realize that this time I get those subjects, the geo and the bio, now you can add it back into the list. Then one thing that you'd realize is that they weren't added in any particular order, right? The order is quite arbitrary, so they're just going to appear anywhere within the list, the set, as it were. Then one other thing that you can actually do, you can actually make a copy of a set. So let's actually have a variable called a copy. Then within it we can actually store subjects dot copy, right? Then I'm simply going to print, maybe let me just say this is the new copy below. Then I'll simply print a copy. Clear the console, then run the script there. So you realize that after the line, this is the new copy, you realize that we get the same subjects, right? But I want you to take notice of the order. Notice that the order is not exactly the same. So this is the thing that I was telling you earlier about sets, that the order, they have no particular order. If you come back to the comment right here, but elements have no particular order, is it? So that's one thing that you also need to take note of with sets. Then the other thing is that sets, you cannot have repeat elements, right? If you have a repeat element, it's actually just going to be ignored. So that's another important thing to note. And I think maybe that's one thing that sets this set data structure apart from the other two, because it actually allows you not to have duplicate values, whereas with lists and tuples you can actually have duplicate values. So yeah, I think that's just about it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.